Welcome to Sean Garvey and my special guest, the show in which we have one-on-one conversations with the best and brightest influential people in the industry, from community leaders to entertainers and so much more. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Sean Garvey and my special guest. I also wanted to ask you, on the topic of hip-hop, or in this part of the conversation on hip-hop, the album, like going back to Lupe Fiasco, Samurai, which you have been a very big instrumental part of, that came out last year, 2024. And to me, 2024 was such a great year for a lot of artists, even artists in Chicago, coming out with albums. The same year as Common and Pete Rock. And so what did that mean for you? And we're going to find out what the answer is in just a few moments. But what did that mean for you as a music video director to work with Lupe Fiasco and help him put out this album, this project, Samurai, as the same year of all this, what I call the resurgence, if you will.
It definitely was great to be part of this resurgence, and just to be doing. So let me rewind. So I turn down more videos than we do, because I'm like, okay, let me see the song, let me hear the song. I listen to the song, I'm like, nope, I can't do nothing with that. Sorry, and it might be because the content is just like, I have a son. I'm not trying to contribute to the delinquency of young black men or them getting in trouble and things like that. And there's a difference. There's a distinction between music that's a reflection of a society and is trying to present a problem than music that's glorifying. Okay. So I want to make that distinction. And so the music that's glorifying a lot of this BS that's getting people killed, I can't be a part of it. The creator did not give me my gift to amplify those voices. If I'm judging people on that, I'm just like, well, y'all recorded it. I chose not to do this. Yearn is the Schoolboy Q video that I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's it.
But generally, all of TDE, I love all the J-Rock stuff. Things like that. But yeah, resurgence of I think music by people that actually want to create music. Because I feel it's a lot of people in the industry, they think it's a check. So, if I do this crazy, retarded stuff, it's going to get me paid. And so they're doing it for that, not because of a genuine love of music. Like one of the projects I'm waiting on, I'm hoping it comes out this year, is Omen, Dreamville's artist Omen. He's got an album. I've heard a lot of it. Hopefully I'll be doing some videos off that. We did a lot of his early stuff. And that's another circle. So I knew Omen, J. Cole before anybody did, when they were living in an apartment in Queens. Omen is my cousin. He's like, man, you got to hear J. Cole. And I'm like, okay. And I remember when Omen called me up and was like, yo, he just had a meeting with Jay-Z. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, and Jay-Z was reciting his lyrics to him, because they had been grinding in New York for a long time. People think it was an overnight success, but no, they went down there with a mission, and that's also the Chicago mentality. Cole isn't from Chicago, but people that aren't from New York, it's like the people in New York take for granted that y'all got all the major labels sitting right there, right?
Yeah.
So they take it for granted. Yeah. Chicago people and people from elsewhere, they're like, wait a minute, I can go to this address and there's all these labels right here. Okay. And so that's kind of what they did, so that was really cool.
Yeah, that's what Kanye West mentioned in his documentary on Netflix, Genius, about having to go from Chicago to New York so that he could get a record deal. And he had to do what he had to do. The Chicago scene was still what it was, and he had to, of course, relocate to another area, another place outside of Chicago to make his stuff pop. So
and at the time, that was the smart move for him at the time, because that was before the strong indie scene, before the internet really enabled artists to kind of be there. Because right now, you if you're a new artist and you go to a label, they want to know how many followers you got. They ain't even listen to the music.
Right.
That's, which is crazy. It's like, how many followers you got? Not, is your music any good? So,
yeah. And I gotta also to acknowledge another artist out of Chicago named Precise. We had him on the Beat Break Morning Show, which is a show outside of my special guest. And he's one of the many artists out of Chicago that has such a great roster of songs on an independent level that I feel is definitely going to stand the test of time, just because of creativity and his lyricism and just how he delivers the message and his cadence. Oh my goodness. It's definitely different from any artist you may have heard.
Mm-hmm. Precise fact, he grew up around the corner from me. We didn't find this out till years ago, literally 4 blocks away.
Really?
4 blocks away. I'm like, what? Yeah, my mom's still alone. I'm like, what? Okay. But we were in different cliques. So full disclosure, I didn't get into hip hop till Public Enemy. So I was that rebellious kid. I was into punk. So I was listening to Dead Kennedys, Corrosion of Conformity, stuff like that. I was running around in the punk scene because they were talking about things that was important to me. Gentrification, environmental issues. And I wasn't hearing that in rap. And so I remember hearing Public Enemy. I'm like, wait a minute, they talking about some of the same stuff these punk bands. And then I go into liner notes. Once again, we talk about liner notes. And he thanks Jello Biafra and Anthrax and all these bands that I'm listening to. I'm like, oh, I was the weird black kid. I had a green mohawk when it wasn't cool. So, I tell these kids now, I'm like, y'all got it so lucky. Y'all can do anything. But back in the day, I was fighting to school. I was fighting from school, because I was that weird kid. Thank God for martial arts and my old Sifu. I could hold my own, so yeah. But at least they fought then. Now it's just, they shooting people. So it was a different time,
You just mentioned martial arts. Now, of course, we all know Lupe Fiasco. He's into the whole martial arts thing as well. Did he introduce you to martial arts, or did you?
No. So yeah, when I was a kid, we had some guys. So back in the day in Chicago, like you have football teams, the high schools had martial art teams, and they would do bouts and stuff. And so Vince Drakes and Edward Drakes live around the corner from me. They were martial artists, and they taught a bunch of kids. And we also had a gentleman, Mr. Coleman, on the corner when we were growing up. And like if we got into a spat with each other, he'd be like, come in the yard, put some boxing gloves on, say, hey, again, box it out, and then y'all be friends by the end of the day. So I grew up in that culture. So yeah, I was learning martial arts at 12, 13, we were learning Kung Fu, Wushu, animal styles, things like that. And it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine, I was like, some of the stuff they had us doing, they probably would have called DCFS or police on. Like I remember there was this barbecue grill with gravel, right? And coals. And we had to do these hand strikes in that coal. Like I used to could do this and scratch someone. That's how tough my hands were back in the day. It was crazy, but like I say, different times.
Yeah, I am a martial arts enthusiast. I love it. I got into martial arts when I was in high school through a family member of mine. You looking back at it and you don't appreciate it until you get older, right? Because some of us, we get into martial arts at a very young age, and it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. It's because your mind is interested in doing other things, But as you get older, you start to realize that martial arts is not just about going in there and kicking somebody's butt or whatever, or learning how to defend yourself, but it's also a form of self-control.
Yes,
discipline. Yeah, it also helps you with your critical thinking and just being a good technique type of person to where you can apply those things that you learn in martial arts to life, whether it's working at a job and being better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for instance, my animal style was praying mantis. And so one of the things that they instilled was like, a mantis really doesn't waste movement or energy. Everything is really direct. You know, they're very patient, but when they strike, they're lethal. Like you can go on YouTube and see mantises grabbing hummingbirds from bird feeders. There's even them grabbing snakes and eating snakes. It's like a mantis, like, yeah, pound for pound, it's one of the most ferocious animals on the planet. You know, so yeah, so I apply that I applied it in skateboarding. I applied it in drawing. It's like nothing wasted. It's like, okay, be purposeful. Think about it before you move. So like with problem solving, I'm a very unreactionary person. You know, unless it's something that requires that instant reaction. I'm more like, okay, let me think about this, figure it out, and then boom. You know, so yeah. Mm-hmm. So speaking of fighting, I don't know if transfer over to the money team, Floyd Mayweather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I spent about a year and a half, almost 2 years on the road with Floyd Mayweather, which was an interesting experience, a very eye-opening experience. Very grateful for that experience. And it also, even though I'm in media, sometimes you got to see behind other people's curtains to see things. Mm-hmm. And it's like the real person and the persona are two different things. And one is completely engineered for maximum effect. So, you know, learn lessons in that, learn lessons in a bunch of stuff. One of the funny lessons I learned was, so Floyd doesn't have any sponsors, no Nike deal, no Adidas, none of that, right? And I'm like, why? Why you don't do that? And we would go to the gym, and there would be reps there all the time, like, man, we'll give you a deal, da 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 da. And he'd be ignoring them. I'm like, man, that's got to be worth millions. And so he said to me, he's like, I don't want anybody to tell me what I can and can't do or say. And it didn't hit me till later. When Tiger Woods ran into problems, he got into his marital problems, and Nike and Tag Heuer pulled their sponsorships. Those are $1 million sponsorships that they pulled. And I was like, oh, okay. And it made sense. Like, okay. So the minute I knew he wasn't going to do any of those Nike, Adidas, whatever deals, I was like, well, shoot, he's got his own brand, TMT. Let me come up with all these ideas, you know, because I'm like, we got the cars, girls, all the toys you could think of to do some really dope Nike level commercials and stuff for his brand. So I'm pitching all these ideas, and like he's not responding. I'm like, man, this is cool. I'm spending time like breaking down scenes. Yeah, we can use the Maybach and this, and use the Bugatti and this, and da. And he's just like, okay, whatever. So one day, I guess he got tired of me trying to convince him to do these things. So they had just got these baseball caps here in Chicago. We call them $150 hats. They got the snake skin and real elaborate. Some of them here they'll like have gold watch faces on them and stuff. Yeah. And so he had just got a bunch of men, and he asked his guy that handles his merchandise, like, what are we selling these for? He's like, about $300 to $350. If it's snake skin, it's like $350, whatever. I'm like, okay. So like, watch this, Chris. I'm like, okay. So he takes some pictures of them, and so he starts talking, having other business. So I'm like, okay, what does he want me to watch? Right. I start hearing these dings, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, what the heck are these dings? And he's like, oh, we just sold out of these. I'm like, at $350 a pop, he sold out of these his whole inventory in less than 5 minutes by posting a picture of them on Instagram. I'm like, okay, he don't need no commercial. What you want me to shoot? We were originally hired to work on the documentary, me and my brother, and ended up doing a bunch of Instagram shows with full movie gear, which led us to some behind the scenes of a Jamie Foxx project, All-Star Weekend, which I can't show anything of because that movie's kind of in limbo. It was supposed to be his directorial debut. Right. We released a trailer for it, and hopefully it'll see light of day because it's super funny, you know. But just being with Floyd was really an incredible experience, you know, just flying around the world. True story. So my dad was ill, so I was sending money back home. Right. I was sending money from so many different cities within the week that Western Union banned me from sending money. They were like, no way you were just in Vegas, New York, LA, Chicago, DC within like 8 hours. I'm like, we flying, you know. So so I ended up having to use Walmart to send my dad money.
That is so crazy. You know, I mean, stories like that, especially with Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
You know, people tend to underestimate people like Floyd Mayweather, you know, with all these wisecracks and these jokes and stuff made about him and stuff like that. But what people don't know is people like Floyd Mayweather, he's a very strategic type of individual. He's
very strategic. Oh my God. Like, I remember when what was the former owner of it was one of the, I think it was it the Lakers, got caught saying racist comments or something. Not Lakers, was it the Lakers or one of these basketball teams?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so Floyd, you know, he had to connect to TMZ. He was like, okay, at 6:00, say I'm considering buying this team. So he was orchestrating all the hype. You know, it was just like, oh my God. So you're feeding TMZ to tell these stories. It was hilarious, you know. But it also I saw the dark side. Like in 3 different cities, people try to put their foot under his car tire when he's bagging out of a space so they can sue. People try to sucker punch him. It's just crazy. People are like, why Floyd needs security? It's like because people do the most retardedest things ever, you know, and it's sad, you know, when you see that. But then you see him, you know, give a bunch of money to Black women cancer survivors and cancer research. He does a lot of philanthropic work that he doesn't advertise because he doesn't want people to just, you know, be scamming him. But if you do a little digging, you're like, wait a minute, Floyd's behind this, you know. So, but yeah, he's a very giving, dynamic person, and I learned a lot.
You know? Yeah. Do you think you kind of relate to people like Floyd Mayweather in a way when it comes to not going by their rules, but by going off of your rules when it comes to cinematography, when it comes to directing? Do you feel that way? Like you kind of like a rebel?
I think I'm definitely a rebel in certain aspects, but there are certain aspects also, I think, of cinematography and filmmaking that are just staples. And I feel if you've mastered those staples, then you can kind of go beyond those staples or push those staples into new territory, you know, and that includes utilizing, you know, new technologies as they advance, like 360 cameras. It's like, okay, how can I utilize this, you know? Because at the end of the day, it's still lighting, composition, subject, and the most important part of anything is the least expensive part, and that's the story. You know, like how many times have you gone and see a $200 million blockbuster that was just horrible? It's like you spent $200 million on this when you should have spent just $10,000 getting the story right. You know, so you need to have in filmmaking, you need to connect with the character, you need to empathize with the character, you need to want to be involved and you want a character to either root for or root against, you know, just as passionately. You want your villains to be so villainous, like, oh, I can't wait till he get his comeuppance, you know, and then you know the protagonist is like, man, he done been through so much, I'm gonna be so elated when he or she does, you know, conquer their obstacles and get where they're trying to go. So, you know, that's the most important part more than anything. I don't care what kind of camera you got, you know, shoot. My phone shoots better than the camera I started out with 30 years ago, you know, so it's not the tool, it's the user.
Yeah. You know, social media has really changed the game for a lot of content creators, a lot of creatives, and even filmmakers. Nowadays, all you just need is a phone and social media. Right. And then, you know, you have 1 million views off of a 3 to 8 minute piece of content that just happens to go viral. Right. Yeah. So like what goes through your mind when you see those type of visuals and images that it doesn't even take that long to make? It's just like you get a camera, you get a camera phone, you go out, you shoot, you put it on social media. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, you just got to go back to the board. But what do you make out of all this? I know we talked a little bit about it earlier in the first half of our conversation, but as a filmmaker, as a director, what goes through your mind?
So my thing is, okay, what's the longevity? You might get those views and it's real quick, but your next post might not get anything, I mean, cat videos. If I wanted to be an Instagram, I'd probably do. I mean, influencer, I'd probably do a bunch of cat videos. I like a bunch. I'm a cat owner. I watch a bunch of cat videos, and it's like they're funny, yeah. But after I watch them, I'm like, it's like I don't see a criterion collection of influencer videos happening. I just don't see it. It's like, they're fun. It's short form, and I'm excited that people get to create and get their vision out there. But I'm like, okay, what's the long-term goals? You just want to keep getting these likes, the thing I do like about social media in general is the sharing community. Like, I know if I get a new piece of software, a new piece of equipment, there's a bunch of YouTubers that's going to walk me through how to learn this stuff. We didn't have it, when in my heyday. It was like, okay, what are these settings, and trial and error. But you got people that are so willing to give information for free. I call it YouTube University. So I see that is valuable for me as a filmmaker. And of course you got to weed through the paid reviewers and stuff. Oh, this company sent me this and it's great, woo, and you get inside, but for the most part, there's maybe a good 5 or 6 YouTubers that their opinion is going to be dead on, and I'll follow them when it comes to video and filmmaking equipment, things like that. But as far as influencers that I follow, Tony Baker.
Oh, yeah. Tony, yeah.
Chicago, right?
Right.
Who years later I would realize was the younger brother of one of my skate buddies back in the day. I'm like, wait a minute, that's you? So yeah, Tony Baker's hilarious, and I've seen him live too. So he's not just funny on Instagram. He's very insightful, very thoughtful, and I like people that really take their life experiences and are able to craft them into stories, be it short or long form, that just really hit home. Just niche. Her stuff is like that. She's phenomenal. Of course, all the greats we talked to, but then me being Gen X, the dad bod veteran. Oh my God, he is hilarious. He's a vet that does stand up, and he's teamed up with a bunch of Gen X comedians, and they do a tour, and they're hilarious. And if you Gen X, it's like they're right on the money. So I follow them, and I'll support them fully. And then podcasts. So there are several podcasts. My favorite is Run Fool. So Run Fool is by this brother named Rodney Barnes. It's a horror-based podcast. Each episode is its own story. It is some phenomenal writing and storytelling. I mean, it's just like it has you enthralled. You listening to him tell these stories, and it's like you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing, even though it's horror based, it's like they have a message. It's not horror for horror's sake. It's not like just, I just want to scare you. It's like, no, there's some sort of message to the madness. It's like,
right.
It's like message, But yeah, they're just really awesome. So I advise anybody check out Run Fool by Rodney Barnes. And Run Fool. I mean, not Run Fool. Mr. Ballin. So Mr. Ballin is an ex-Navy SEAL who got into telling true crime stories, and his stories are like true crime stories, and he tells them in such a way, and it's like, whoa. So he was at the Chicago Theater last year, and they sold it out, a live tour for a podcaster. A 10,000 plus venue. To listen to someone tell some stories, Right. So I like those. It's, once again, it comes back to stories and telling engaging stories. If you can do that in a 30 to 90 second piece. Wow. Okay, cool. I mean, that's what commercials do, So yeah. So more proud, It's just, there's just so much stuff you have to wade through now to get to the good stuff sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it takes us to Impact Studio, where stories are made. And your collaboration with Black, like talk to us about that relationship with Black and how Impact Studio came about.
Black is my right hand. She is phenomenal. Hannah Mitchell is her name. She's edited everything I've done. So to give you an example, so in 30 years, I've pulled permits for shooting maybe twice. So that means everything is running gun, which is mean you get what you get, try to do the best what you can, and she manages to make it look good. Stuff that I thought was a mistake, she's like, no, I can put this here and put that there, and she's phenomenal. She's edited about 13 feature films at this point, a couple documentaries. She just got a telly for a documentary on house music she edited. She's just amazing. And we have this psychic connection, and to kind of circle back with Hype Williams. So there was a lull in Hype's work after the Aaliyah passing, the accident. His editor passed on that plane. So the connection,
Okay, I didn't know that. I mean, we know people. There were several people that died in the plane crash.
So his editor was one of the people on that plane, and it's so hard once you get an editor and get locked in. Like, it's almost psychic. She'll see a shot and she'll know exactly what I meant with the shot. So I have that ability. Quentin Tarantino's editor passed away recently. Sally Minky, she edited majority of his films, and she would be like, there's an interview with him where he talks about how she found things in the story that he hadn't even thought of that she put in the editing. So that's why Hannah gets Black gets a director's credit. She might not be on set, but she's directing in post. So that's why it's Chris and Black.
So do you think, so going back to what you said about Hype, so his editor, and once again, I'm very, very observant when I look at people's music videos and stuff, because I said to myself that after 2002, because Hype was still making music videos, right? But it just didn't look the same. It did, not the chemistry, but how I saw Hype Williams videos just weren't the same after 2002. Ironically, a year after Aaliyah's passing or what have you. And I know we had to go and get some new people or a new editor, since we just now learned, or people like myself just now learned, that one of his video editors or his video editor died in the plane crash with him. Do you think that changed the way that Hype did his videos?
Well, I think it was a combination of that, him losing control over Belly, and his fight with the execs behind that, which changed the ending of Belly. All of a sudden, it's like Belly is doing fine, and then all of a sudden, we're in Africa with Nas, and it's like, wait, what happened? It's like something's missing, because the producers finished the film as they saw fit, because I think either he went over budget or something, or he requested some more money, but either way, he lost control of the final edit on that film. So that's a heartbreaking thing, to lose control of something you're passionate about that you created, So I'm pretty sure that took its toll, and I mean, shoot, I suffered burnout, think about his run. He was just like, boom, 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 it's like, yeah. And then have to fight the corporate beast, that's a whole nother thing. So, it could have been a variety of factors, and then, I don't know if he'll ever make a film again. I'd love to see him make another feature film, So I don't know. And I follow him on Instagram. So like, he's always posting behind the scenes of some of these classic projects he's worked in. It's like, wow, I would have loved to have been on this set or that set, know? So,
yeah, because as a filmmaker, you got to keep that consistency going. Yeah. And so going back to your relationship with Black, it's like you all are in sync with each other when it comes to creating ideas, creating content, and making it presentable to the people to see the masterpiece that both you and Black made and stuff. So now that I'm hearing this for the first time, it definitely makes sense to me. Makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, Hana Black is amazing. It's just like Impact Studio would not be what it is without Black's touch, you know. And then even before me and Black were partners, I have to shout out Jonathan Woods from it was then his company then was Ashe Creative Group. Now it's Bright Seed Collective, and he's a genius collaborator. Me and him did the Public Enemy video together, and more recently we did a video for an artist named Gold Girl called Smoke a Blunt, Take a Fatty or something. It's hilarious. It's a crazy Alice in Wonderland, really surreal project. Gold Girl is a metal. She's I think she's Panamanian metal songstress. So she does the whole death metal screaming voice, and she's also a pop blocker. Like she does the classic pop block. It's just, she's an amazing person. She just does all kinds of, she's just one of these creative multi-hyphenates, so it was really cool working with her on her project. My first experience with her was a band. She was a part of a metal band called Urzuli, which was a jazz metal voodoo band. That's the best way I could describe it. And they were phenomenal. My son, my son's first experience with metal was they performed at this convention called Pocket Con, which is like a Black Comic Con that happens here in Chicago.
Right.
And, he was like, "Whoa, that was cool." So
right. Right. So Hana and you, and by the way, if you're just tuning in, we're having such a very great conversation with the one and only Christopher Adams, CEO of Impact Studio, Sean Garvey, and my special guest. A list of different well-recognizable people that you, Hana Black, worked with. One of my favorite people in the industry, of course, Eric Roberson.
Yes.
Layla Hathaway. You mentioned Jamie Foxx. Of course, Floyd Mayweather, which you also mentioned too. Lupe Fiasco. The list goes on and on and on. And anybody that's watching us right now and they want a music video to be done, or they want a commercial to be done, what does it take for Impact Studios to work with a person that may not be on the level as those names I just mentioned?
So the cool thing about my business is a lot of times I'm at the ground floor of something that gets big, and I love being in that ground floor. I love being able to take that artist's first video who no one knows about and give them that first look that kind of defines them sometimes for the rest of their career. So you don't have to be a big artist. First thing you got to do is if it's music, you just need to have some great music. That's the first step right there. You got great music that gets me excited to work about it, because it's not about the money for me. If I can get excited about your music, that's half the battle right there. Then you can hit us up on our website, impactstudio.com. We've got a contact form you can submit. And it's impactstudio.com. And go to the contact page, submit, send us your info, and we'll reach out to you. We're very accessible. Don't let some of the big names you'll see on the website. We work with all types of budgets, all sorts of artists, a variety of styles. We did our first country artist video. Hopefully that'll be coming out. A gentleman named Carson Stone. He has this song called Hometown USA. That was phenomenal. We've done rock, Lemoyne Alexander. What was this other rock video? The Damage Manual, which actually has a member of the Sex Pistols as the main guy, Martin Atkins. We've done R&B. I've done Norteño, Mexican music. We do it all. Music and creativity is universal. We're not stuck to just your basic genres. So and not only that, feature film. So we have a feature film It's been streaming a couple years now on. It's on Tubi. It's called Paradigm Gray. And if you like Twilight Zone, if you like Black Mirror, if you like Get Out, then you'll love what we did. So it's an anthology film. There's 5 stories, and we've got a character that introduces each story. So they range from horror to sci-fi to Afrofuturism, you know. And it was a litmus test on collaboration. Myself and several of my fellow filmmakers in Chicago, Dave Johnson, Jonathan Woods, Tommy Sigmund, Cassandra Bale, and I wanted to see if we could all work together to produce a product, and it worked out. It was really great, and we're going to be doing we got some more things in the works as well, yeah, it was just a labor of love. And let me go back a little bit. So the impetus was I had been wanting to do a feature film project and was having trouble securing some funds. It was like we had this extensive resume, but no one wanted to invest in the film. So I ended up backing it myself. But one of the main reasons was I was really frustrated with the representation of African Americans in film, especially in the genres of sci-fi, horror, fantasy, things like that. And so the straw that broke the camel's back was the trailer for the movie Life with Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds. It's a sci-fi film set in space station.
I remember that movie. Yeah.
They killed the brother in the trailer. I was like, wait a minute. The trailer? They killed the black character in the trailer. I was so pissed. I'm like, So I was like, okay, we got to get this done. And yeah, we teamed up. It took us a second, went through a lot of trial and error, but we produced a dynamic project for very little money. And, you know, we've quadrupled our investment in it on streaming. And yeah, we didn't have a marketing budget or anything. So it's all been word of mouth. You know, so yeah.
I also got to big up another filmmaker out of Chicago, David Weathersby.
Okay.
Done some great content, done some great work as well. It's just such a beautiful thing in Chicago for a lot of creatives, whether they are on the film side, the television side, the music side, to bring something that is just so wonderful and so impactful. You see how I did that impactful to the viewers. And and with all the stuff that is out there, some I love. There's some great content that I love out there, and then there's content that I don't really approve of, that I don't like. It's not for me. It's not my cup of tea or anything.
Right.
I would love to see more and more creatives out of Chicago come out and have their content showcase.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the things we have with our space. We have enough space. We can do showcases. A lot of the theaters have closed, so we're coming up with alternatives. We got 100,000 square feet. We got 20-foot LED wall. Invite some people in and do some screening. So we're in the process of a lot of different things to help move the community at large forward as well. Like I know that the Tate brothers, Lorenz Tate and his brother, they partnered with a guy to do the XL Film Fest, which is it's pretty cool. I'm not necessarily a fan of festivals. A lot of them to me come out as money grabs. Like for example, I think Sundance had like 60,000 submissions at a cost of $100 to $200 per submission for under 40 slots. It's a business now. It's like, you submit to a festival, you don't get in, they don't send you your money back. So, that's, and then a lot of them popped up after during the pandemic, a lot of online film festivals and things. So yeah, I'd rather just rent a venue, play my film, boom, and do it that way. So that's just me.
Yeah. I would be remiss if I don't acknowledge your recent award. you've been honored with an award, a very prestigious award. Can you talk to us about that?
Okay, so I guess it's probably the presidential award, the Mavy. Yes. So I was blessed. So the Mavies, it's a new thing, but it goes through the what is it, 1,000 Points of Light foundation that I think George Bush, I think the second, started to basically highlight and give awards to people and entities that do phenomenal work, but not only just do phenomenal work, but also phenomenal work that helps either community, helps empower people, things like that. So I was honored when Erica Porter called me and said, "Yeah, you're getting a Mavy Award for your work." Because I've been kind of Chicago's best kept secret. It's like I'm the one everybody calls. When something goes wrong, it's like, okay, I got a solution. We're about solutions. But I know not only that is, I'm always opening my doors to anyone willing to learn. So it's like, yo, you want to learn this? Okay, cool. Like I took over my parents' house after my dad died and set up shop here, and so like some of the kids in the neighborhood, they're like, wait a minute. I saw you on Instagram. You with this person, you with that person. I'm like, yeah, but I'm right here, and you can talk to me if you got any questions about anything in this field. You want to come on set? Come on, So I'm real big about that. I think I used my neighbor's kid in one of the promos for Samurai. There's a kid on the Samurai sword. I was like, you want to be in this commercial? I'll pay you. He's like, okay. Talk to his parents. Like, okay. So it's important to see people in your community doing things on a global scale. So that's important to me. And even with our space, building that, because I saw the need for, me and my partner saw the need for this resource, because there usually aren't these kind of resources in our communities. I mean, how many Black communities can you go on 100,000 square foot film studio? All the bells and whistles. It's like, you can't. We just built a mobile production van. I'll send you some pictures of that.
Yeah, please do.
So we can do pop-up, not only just on productions, but I can do pop-up classrooms. Like, I can teach a class. I taught a filmmaking class at Freedom Home Academy. It was a 5-week class, twice a week for 2 hours. And at the end, they had a 4-minute short film, that they worked on. I got behind the scenes. So it's like you see them operating, so I had to come up with a way to kind of give them the speedy filmmaking course. And these kids, they got it like that. And I was like, wow, it was really cool, really fun. So that was a test also, because that's one of the components we want to do, that we want to have. There's a facility just north of us that I'm on the board for, Sonic Center, which is a performance arts center for kids that's in development. By a gentleman named Lawrence and his wife. His wife is a disabled Army veteran. They grew up in Auburn Gresham, which is one of the quote unquote notorious neighborhoods in the community. And their life mission since she got out the military and he retired was, we want to give back to our community. We want something. Their mentality is, these kids need some place to go and people that care about them and show them other things. So we partnered with him. He's got 60,000 square feet. So one of the buildings on his property is going to be a training facility. So we'll start their introduction and training there and then graduate them to our space. So, so we're a pipeline. It's like, okay, this isn't just playing with cameras, but we want to show you can make a living with this, a livable wage. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And I love it when a person of your stature can just pay it forward. Just pay it forward, giving it to the community, giving it back to the community. Because that's all that people in certain neighborhoods in certain areas want. They just want an opportunity to get out of whatever circumstance they're in and use that opportunity to do something that they're going to end up loving to do, that they could benefit from long term. These kids just need something to do. They just need something to do.
And just to be exposed, because no one knew all the other jobs. Everybody knows their job in front of the camera, but I'm like, it's tons of jobs behind the camera, and a lot of times that's where the power is anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like I speak at schools all the time, and I ask kids, you know, who wants Michael Jordan or LeBron money? Everybody raise their hand, right? I was like, now who wants the money of the person that writes them that check? And they're like, wait a minute, someone's writing them a check? And then it clicks. Wait a minute, that means they have even more money. You know, so to get them to understand that process, we're like, yeah.
Facts. Impact Studio or impactstudio.com is the website for any and all creatives and people that want to be a part of what you and Black got going on. I mean, the work speaks for itself. Even if people go on YouTube and type in Impact Studio or just your name alone, or even the latest video from Lupe Fiasco, Samurai, and the other videos that you and Lupe have done over the years, the work speaks for itself when people see and look at your content and everything. Are there any other artists that you would love to work with on the set in the near future that you and Black haven't had a chance to work with?
I'd love to work with Absol. I'd love to work with so there's an artist, actually one of my favorite artists. His name is Fink, and it's kind of folk, like he does a lot of acoustic guitar stuff. He's from England, I believe. But his songwriting, and it's funny, he's one of Ava DuVernay's favorite artists. She's licensed some of his music for several of her films. A lot of his stuff's been featured on The Walking Dead as well. But just lyrically, you know, he's one of these people that paints pictures in my head. I'd love to work with him. I'd love to work with so many. See, my genre is all over the place. So like 9 Inch Nails, I'd love to do a 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
You know, they work with some of the great Mark Romanek. They work with what's the other guy? Well, Mark Romanek sticks out in my head because that was one of those classic 80s videos for the song Closer.
Okay.
Local. So there's a young artist here. His name is Zion Ali. Funny, I just saw him last night, but he calls himself an empowerment artist. He's a young artist. He's maybe 20, and all his music is dynamic, uplifting, and positive. So he's one of them. I'm gonna have to have a talk with Black because unfortunately, it's usually the artists that have something positive to say that don't really have budgets. So, so what I usually do is, if it's somebody that's not really talking about something positive, I'll overcharge them so I can give someone like Zion Ali a break. So I try to balance out my karma.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this one street video with this guy, but yeah, I'm gonna double charge him so he's paying for Zion's. So Zion Ali, look him up on Instagram. Phenomenal young man. Anytime I see young men, young Black men and women doing something positive against the grain of what's being shoved down everybody's throat, you know, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get go on. Buck from Psychodrama again. Buck and Direct. They're just faves. Buck's voice. Buck is actually the voice of the narrator in my movie as well. So I'd love to work with him again on some projects. So, yeah. And for those that don't know, Buck is the voice that says "Adrenaline Rush" on the Twista song "Adrenaline Rush."
Right. No, of course.
Yeah, and there's the Lupe song "Chopper" that he's on off of Tattoo and Youth. So yeah.
Oh wow, that is. I mean, those are some crazy names that you.
Eric Roberson again. Eric Roberson. So that connection came through Black. Black was like, Chris, I love this artist's work. I hadn't heard him at the time because I'm not necessarily the R&B guy.
Yeah.
And she sent me his stuff. I'm like, oh, this is dope. And he responded, and that's how we ended up doing a bunch of Eric Roberson stuff. So we got 2 Grammy-nominated videos for Eric Roberson. We got Still with Layla Still with what's the first one with Layla Hathaway? I forget the name. But Still is the one. The video for Still
Hmm.
had people in my studio crying. It's emotional. It's about a breast cancer person with breast cancer. And it doesn't start off, you don't realize that till like near the end that something's happening.
Yeah.
And I never forget, because we shot it in Jersey and in New York, and I came back and Hannah was working on it, and she had left the office and she left the project up. She's like, Chris, if you go back to the office, I need you to look at the video. I got the project up. I looked at the video and I had some associates with me, and we were tearing up. It was such an emotional project. And I'm like, that's the key of impact. If you can have an emotional response, and this was the second time. The first time we had an emotional response was for the video for Lupe, All Food Liquor, He Say, She Say. And I had a gentleman, he was a rapper, kind of a gangster rapper, looking to get our services. And the video wasn't out yet. And I was like, well, you want to see what we're working on? Just kind of showing what we do. And so he's looking at this video and he tears up. And it's basically about a father not in his son's life.
Right.
And he said, skip this rap stuff. I need to go spend more time with my son. And he was just like, he was choked up. So,
Wow. Wow.
So when you can get that kind of response from a music video, we've done our job, and I'm looking to try to do more projects like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and that's what I said earlier about wanting to be me, Sean Garvey, wanting to be a music video director first before radio got into the whole equation. I wanted to be a storyteller, but do it in a way where it's visual. It can make you think, it can make you laugh, but it can also make you cry at the same time. And I love those videos. I think I think the last video that I saw, and going back to Chicago, right? The last video I saw was, well, recently, because this was a video that came out a long time ago in the 2000s. Was it the 2000s or was it? No, I'm sorry. It was 1997. It was 1997 when Common dropped One Day It'll All Make Sense. And it was the video in which Lauryn Hill directed and also collaborated with Common on the song Retrospective for Life. And watching that video over and over and over again, even hearing the song, had me teared up. Yeah.
Dealing was the other video with Layla Hathaway. Yeah. So that, and like I say, his videos are always a blast. He's such the penultimate professional. Him and Teresa Griffin, they are just like phenomenal. I got a Teresa Griffin story. So the latest video for Teresa Griffin that we did, we shot a scene. It was literally 2 degrees outside, downtown Chicago, Michigan Avenue, and she's in a sheer dress. I could not feel my fingers. I had hunting type gear on, and you don't see her breath. She studied these ice divers and how they control their breathing, because she knew she wanted to do this scene. We knew the date, and they said it was going to be record-setting cold. And when you look at the video, you would not think she was cold. When I say I could not feel my fingers, I was like in there like, okay, I hope the camera ain't shaking. Thank God for Ibis on the camera. But yeah, it's a beautiful song. That one is what is that? Matter of fact, I think it's the first video on the website.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm having a brain freeze.
And again, I'm gonna show this to the viewers out there too. ImpactStudio.com is the website.
When You're Around Me, that's the name of the song.
When You're Around Me. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, is it on the website, or do people gotta YouTube it? Or
well, the best way to see our work is on the website. They're on YouTube, but they're on the individual artist websites. I mean YouTube. So yeah, if they go to the website, everything's there.
ImpactStudio.com. See, there you go. There you go, right there. There you go. I am so looking forward to seeing you and Blacks. I look forward to seeing more content from Impact Studio. In the near, yeah. I mean, not just music videos, right? But just commercials or even comedy specials. We talked about comedians, you know, from Chicago and stuff. I would love to see Impact Studio direct a comedy special or film a comedy special that people can see on, you know, Netflix or Amazon Prime. Especially with the amount of
that might happen. That might happen. It's probably more apt to have a comedian within one of our projects than a comedy thing. I'm the sci-fi horror guy for the most part when it comes to my stuff. But I mean, we've shot some things. Matter of fact, we did 8 episodes of Comedy Come Up, and I think that's supposed to be premiering sometime this year. We shot that at my facility, at our facility. So yeah, Ace Universal Group. But yeah, so and we got some things in the works. So yeah, get on Instagram. That's the best way to kind of, you know, everything is Impact Studio. So yeah, if you go to the website, you'll see a link at the bottom to all our social media as well. So yep.
Yeah. One last thing, advice. Any advice you want to give to our up and coming directors, filmmakers that want to get into the business and stuff? And I know people, y'all trying to get there where Tyler Perry is at, or y'all trying to work with him and everything. And I be telling Christopher Adams, there are more directors out there than just Tyler Perry. We love Tyler Perry and what he has done for the culture, for the community and stuff. But I think the important thing too, though, Chris, is that young people need to know the business side when it comes to this type of profession. But go ahead and give any insight.
Well, the first thing, the very first advice, and probably most important advice, is to push forward through negativity, because you got people that's going to be like telling you what you can and can't do. And a lot of times that's because they were too scared to try to go after their dreams and goals. So you have to believe in yourself. That's the biggest thing. And I cannot stress that enough. Your self-belief, because sometimes only you can see the vision of what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. So you have to be strong enough to push through all the naysayers and see your vision through. Okay. You have to be a problem solver. You know, nothing goes perfect, you know, even, you know, at my level, hype level, whatever, there's always something that could go wrong. Don't freak out, just adapt, be like water, like Bruce Lee say, you know, figure it out. Need to be business smart, handle like simple things. Contracts are important. They might seem cumbersome, but they are so important. NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. Where if you're presenting an idea to somebody, you want to protect that idea. You want to be like, okay, sign this paper saying I'm showing you my idea. So if you go back and try to steal that idea, hello, you know. So definitely that's probably one of the more important basic things are those agreements. And, you know, communication skills. You know, filmmaking is a team sport. You know, you got to be able to communicate your ideas to all the members of the crew. Not everybody's like me where I'm kind of doing 50 million things, but even so, you know, I've got a small crew, but we have a very tight communication. So, you know, and how you communicate with people. I mean, you can have someone do something. You can ask someone to do something several ways, right? You'd be like, do this, right? Or you'd be like, yo, man, you think you could do this for me? And how people take that is different, right? You don't want to be the tyrant. You don't want to be known as the tyrant on a set. You know, I ain't working with him. He mean. You want to be, yo, my sets are laid back, super chill. I do not stress. I had a friend of mine who I hadn't worked with. She worked on Lupe's video Palaces. She's a wardrobe stylist, and she was just like, "We done already?" She's like, "This was the chillest set I've ever been on." I'm like, yeah. And even like, we've done videos with dancers, and the dancers call us and like, you got any projects? Because I'm not trying to be on that other director set because I'm getting harassed and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Yep. That's my top advice.
There you go. A lot of gems.
Just do it, like Nike say.
Just do it. Just go ahead and do it. Don't procrastinate.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. The key is to learn from your mistakes. So in my daily prayer, I ask the Creator that I make new mistakes. Because if I'm making the same mistakes, that means I'm not growing, right? So like, give me a new challenge. Oh, that's new. Okay. So let me figure that one out. And that's how you grow. And also try to get around people better than you. Don't be afraid or intimidated by people that might be at a different level than you. See if you can get around. The only way you get better is by being around better.
Right. Mentorship. That's what I said. Mentorship. Mm-hmm.
And character. Character is everything. Like, I'll deal with someone with less talent but more character. In terms of knowing that they go do what they say. If they got a problem, don't be afraid to ask questions. That's another thing. There are no stupid questions. Ask questions. You don't know something, ask about it. Because last thing you want to be in the situation and the person, and I'm thinking knowing what you're doing and you don't, and you mess up. That's not good.
Yeah, a stupid question is not asking a question at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Christopher Adams, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for just taking time out of your busy schedule to speak to us and making an impact, keyword impact, in this conversation and to many others that's watching. Once again, impactstudio.com is the website. Any shout outs and any last remarks you would like to make?
Shout out to my partner, Black. Shout out to the Creator for continuing to bless me with my gifts, not only of life, but my gifts of creativity and allowing to share them with the world. That's it.
All right. And also, speaking of shout outs, got to give a shout out to Riddell Drakeford for helping me put this interview together with the one and only Christopher Adams as my special guest. Thank you so much to you and Impact Studio. And we got more on the way next right here on Sean Garvey and my special guest with the one and only Christopher Adams of Impact Studio.
Thank you. When you come to Chicago, you got to come by.
Gotta come. Oh, that's on my bucket list. That's on my bucket list next on all the cities to visit outside of Atlanta. Oh, that's on my bucket list right there. Okay. we're bringing Sean Garvey and my special guest to Chicago. Coming soon.
Awesome.
All right.